guys, welcome to the channel. My name is AJ and today we are going to be talking about stress. So let's get right into it. Stress is actually defined as a state of mental tension or worry which is caused by a difficult situation. Stress is a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. Or some also define stress as a feeling of emotional and or physical tension that occurs when you react or respond to any event or thought that makes you feel frustrated, angry, or nervous. It's the body's response to a challenge or demand. So in simple terms, stress is just the body's natural response to any challenge that it is facing, any challenge that the body might be going through, any threatening situation that you face or the body might face, encounter, or experience. Stress is the body's natural way of responding to it. Stress is natural. It is not something that we just create artificially. It is a natural reaction. Like everything in life, stress has its own cycle. But here we are going to talk about two different cycles in stress. We have the normal stress response cycle and then the maladaptive stress response cycle. This is the normal stress response cycle and then the maladaptive stress response cycle. In the normal stress response cycle, we have four stages: the neutral stage, the beginning stage of stress, the middle stage, and then the ending stage. The neutral stage is when your body is in its normal neutral state. Nothing is bothering you or troubling you. You've not faced or perceived any threatening or dangerous situation. Then at the beginning of stress, this is when something has happened. Maybe you encounter a danger or threatening stimulus, you receive a certain bad news, anything that causes an uncomfortable reaction. That's the threat being perceived. Then naturally your body kicks into the fight or flight response. This is something that takes place in the brain. The brain controls it. Your body decides, I'm going to fight the stress or I'm going to flight or run away. This is when that happens. And then at the end, this is when threat is over, it is safe now, and your body feels safe. So this is what's happening. In the flight or fight response, you either stay and then fight the threatening situation. Let's say you encountered a snake or a gunman or something. You either stay and fight or you run away from your life. Then after that, your body returns back to its normal state because the threat has ended. You are now okay. Everything that went off in your body, whether it was breathing rapidly, sweating, shivering, fear, tension, anything that happened to you at this part, it comes to an end. And then your body returns to its normal state. If you encounter another stress, the cycle will begin again. So this is the normal stress response cycle. We are expecting that after going through this and then the stressor being taken away, everything will come to an end and then your body will return to its normal natural state. Then we come to the maladaptive stress response cycle. Here a whole lot of things happen. This is when it also have four stages, but a lot of things takes place. First is the neutral stage or the internal appraisal or external stressor state. Here something is stressing you from the environment. Maybe let me use the snake example again. You encountered a snake, an armed robber broke into your house. Anything that is coming from the environment, you receive a sudden news. Maybe you were fired from your job or something. Anything that is not normal to you, that is the external stressor. Then when that begins to happen, you begin to perceive the stress. Then you move straight into the physiological responses, which is the flight or fight response. In the normal stage, you call it flight or fight, but here we are saying it's physiological response, and the same thing. This is where your brain activates the flight or fight response, and then your body decides whether you stay and fight whatever that is threatening you or that external stressor, or you run for your life. Then there is a third stage to this one, which is different from the normal one. The third stage is when your body begins to internalize or somehow accept whatever that happened to you in the second stage. So let's say in the second stage you were breathing very fast, having palpitations, your heart was beating very fast, you were shivering, you were so scared, you couldn't even move or something. At this internalization stage, your body accepts that feeling or imbibe it. Then because these feelings are uncomfortable and are new to your system, your body decides to develop maladaptive coping strategies to counter these feelings that your body has accepted. Your body is aware that all these things that are happening to you, whether your heart was beating fast, you were shivering, any uncomfortable experience that you had during this place, your body has accepted it at this stage. But at the same time, both your body and your brain knows that this is foreign, this is not normal to us. So you begin to develop a coping strategy to counter this feeling or reaction, and that is the maladaptive coping strategy. This is the point where people will tend to alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, substance, anything. Some people will become hyperactive, some people will overwork, some people will overeat, some people refuse to eat, some people will become talkative, and a whole lot of things. So it is at this stage that we develop maladaptive coping strategies just to counter these feelings that we don't want but is in our body. And that is how this cycle got its name, the maladaptive stress response cycle. Okay, let's move to the next one. So, who is at risk of getting stressed or experiencing stress? We are all at risk of getting stressed at some point in our lives, but certain individuals have a higher chances of getting risk or have a higher tendency for getting stressed than the rest of us. These are individuals who naturally have negative thinking styles or are perfectionists. There are some people, they cannot express the slightest error or mistakes in life. They cannot accept it. These people are perfectionists. They always want everything to go perfect in their way. So the slightest mistakes or errors or the slightest problems or resistance they encounter, it makes them stressed. Then we talk about those who lack resilience or lack self-control. Some people cannot control themselves. Everything gets to them. Everyone can get to them. The slightest provocation, they will react. They succumb to every single problem or challenge they may face. And then we have individuals who have experienced traumatic events or have caregiving responsibilities. This is why I always jokingly say that doctors and nurses are the most stressed human beings in this world. Having experienced any form of traumatic event, be it a road accident, rape, sexual assault, physical assault, losing someone, a loved one in your presence, any saddening news that shocks you, this can prone you to stress. Also, having to take care of a person, especially if the person is sick, where you have to do everything for the person, bath the person, feed the person, clothe the person, take care of all the person's daily activities or daily necessities. That responsibility can lead you to stress because it will make you physically tired and worn out. And when that happens, it can put you into stress. Then we talk about those facing financial and relationship insecurity or workplace stress. When we talk about relationship insecurity, I'm not talking about just marriages and love relationships. Can talk about relationship between friends, relationship between family members, relationship with our colleagues in the workplace or any social group that we may be part of, even churches or wherever that we go. The kind of relationship that we have with the people around us. If we don't have a stable or secure relationship with them, this can lead to stress for some people. Also, workplace stress. Your boss is stressing you, your colleagues are stressing you, clients are stressing. Everybody is putting in their demands without providing any solution or help. This can also lead to stress. And then we talk about specific groups such as minorities. When we talk about minorities, we are talking about individuals with deformities, the disabled, blind, crippled, those people in society. And then we also talk about LGBTQ plus individuals and those with chronic illness. Imagine a person living with HIV. Those people, they are always under scrutiny by society. They always have to think about what society is going to say about them. They are always being watched by others, and this causes stress for them a lot. Types of stress. There are different types of stress. We have good stress, we have bad stress, we have acute stress, episodic acute stress, and then chronic stress. Good stress or stress is the kind of stress that pushes you to do good things or pushes you to survive. Imagine maybe you are having an exam and you are feeling stressed about it, anxious about it, a bit fearful. That stress that you are feeling will push you to go and learn, read your books, solve questions, discuss topics with friends and colleagues, so that you'll be able to pass your exams, and that is the good stress. Then we have the bad stress, also known as distress. This is when the stress that you are feeling, let's use the example again. This is where people become so anxious and tense that some people will refuse to write the exams. Some people run away from the exams, or some people may even collapse or fall sick at the exam. So this is distress. Distress is any form of like a bad stress, or the stress that causes you to fall away from your normal daily activities. It doesn't push you to survive any threatening situation. It doesn't push you to do good things. Instead, it causes you to break down or fall away from your normal or daily routines. Then we have acute stress. That's a stress lasting less than a month. Let's say you've lost a loved one, or you received any sudden news. You are expecting that after some times, maybe within 21 to 28 days, you will be able to resolve that stress or recover from that stress and then move on with your life. That is acute stress. Then we have episodic acute stress. This is frequent short-term intense stress, and this episodic acute stress, if left unresolved or untreated, will push someone into developing chronic stress. This is because the more you experience this, the easier it is for your brain or your body to accept and recognize these feelings. And so within a few months or a short time, you are going to become chronically stressed, which is very bad. And we are seeing chronic stress is stress that persists for longer periods of time. It takes a long time for that person to recover from whatever that is stressing that person, and most people don't even recover. So let's talk about the causes of stress. We have personality and psychological factors. As I mentioned earlier, when we were discussing those who are at risk of stress, those who are at risk of getting stressed, there are some people naturally, because of their natural makeup, and then their unique personality, they are always stressed because everything gets to them easily, naturally. And psychological factors. Imagine somebody who has experienced any traumatic event or is suffering from PTSD. That person can easily get stressed. Then life experiences. Imagine someone providing caregiving responsibility for a sick relative. This can also lead to stress, or anything in life. Maybe you suddenly break out from a relationship, maybe marriage or love relationship. You suddenly get fired from your work or your job without any cause. All these things can lead to stress. Then lifestyle factors. This refers to our way of eating. Even the kind of food you eat and how you eat it can lead to stress in you. So our style of eating, exercise, rest, sleep, and all that, the kind of friends we keep, the social activities that we have, all these things can prone us to stress. Then we have specific groups, as I mentioned earlier when we were discussing those at risk of stress. There are some specific groups in society that naturally they are always stressed because of who they are in society. Then we can talk about other factors such as gender and then age. In terms of gender, stress is more common in women than men, and then in terms of age, more young adults and middle-aged people usually experience stress other than most younger people or advanced age people, those going from 55 and the rest. It's not common for you to hear that maybe someone age 60 or 65 is thinking of committing suicide or attempting suicide. It does happen, but it is not common. Unlike young adults and middle-aged people, we are the ones that usually experience all these things, and it happens all because of stress. When we go into stress and that stress is not resolved, it will lead to depression and suicidal ideas. Signs and symptoms of stress. We can talk about emotional symptoms, which includes irritability, anxiety, hopelessness, withdrawal, and lack of interest in activities. There are some people, when they are really stressed, even a fly passing by can irritate them. The slightest provocation, they become so angry. The slightest mistake or error, it makes them so angry. They become easily irritable. And then stress can also lead to anxiety, puts tension and fear on a person. Then there is hopelessness. When you are stressed, some people experience hopelessness. It seems their world is crashing down and there is nothing they can do about it. Withdrawal. This is when somebody who is usually outgoing, maybe an extrovert, suddenly recedes, withdraws from the crowd and begins to keep to him or herself, begin to stay indoors. And at this point, they lose interest in all forms of activity. Then we can talk about physical symptoms. This includes stomach problems or stomach problems or GI problems, headaches, dizziness, loss of appetite, fatigue or weakness. Some people can develop constipation, some people can develop diarrhea, frequent headaches, they are always dizzy, not being able to stand up, loss of appetite, and then fatigue or weakness. Then we can also talk about behavioral changes. This is where there are changes in a person's eating, drinking, or social habits. Maybe someone who did not like eating sweet things will suddenly begin to binge or overeat sugary things and sugary foods, candies, cookies, chocolates, all the things you can think about. Some people will be overeating meat, some people over drink alcohol, coffee and all that. And then social habits. Maybe an outgoing person will suddenly decide, nah, I'm not going out again. Or somebody who was not an outgoing person, didn't like going to clubs or social places or crowded places, will suddenly develop an interest in that. All these things are some signs of stress. So let's talk about the effects of stress. There are a lot of effects of stress, a lot that you can mention, but these are the most common ones that we need to pay attention to. So first one is mental health problems. With unresolved stress, you can lead to developing chronic stress. We've already talked about this. This can also lead to anxiety disorders, that is a mental health problem. It can further lead to depression, which is also a mental health problem, and depression is what leads to suicide. So anybody that ever commits suicide in life, that person was at one point super stressed in his or her life, and that person couldn't resolve it or didn't know how to resolve it, pushing that person into depression and then finally committing suicide. Then we talk about cardiovascular disease. Why does stress lead to this? When you are stressed, when your body is stressed, whether it's physical stress or emotional stress, whether you are tired physically or tired mentally, your entire system, internal system, is thrown out of balance. Everything is thrown out of balance. When that happens, the body puts more strain on your brain and your heart to work to keep this thing in balance. And this is what will lead to all these things that we are seeing here: the hypertension, the coronary artery disease, the stroke or cerebrovascular accidents, arrhythmias, myocardial infarction or heart attack. All the negative things that comes as a result of this is because your body has been thrown out of balance, and then your heart and your brain need to work extra in it to be able to restore your body to balance. Then we can talk about obesity and eating disorders. This is when people begin to gain weight anyhow because of how they eat during their stressful period. Some people say that they stress eat or stress binge, meaning they eat a lot of things when they are stressed, whether sweets, meat, candies or anything. But when the stress hormone in your body, which is cortisol is the hormone responsible for stress in your body. We call it the stress hormone. When its levels increases, your body begins to store fat unnecessarily. Naturally, the body has its own way of storing fat. The rate of storing it, which is normal to everybody, your system. But once your cortisol level increases, the body begins to store this fat anyhow unnecessarily. And this is where the obesity comes in. People gain weight because of the stress, the tiredness, the physical and the emotions. Their cortisol levels are over increased, and then the body begins to store fats anyhow. Then we can talk about some eating disorders. We can talk about anorexia and then bulimia. Anorexia is when a person is refusing to eat even though they are hungry because they don't want to put on weight. This can also be mental health problems. Yes, sometimes you can also find this under mental health problems. And then bulimia is when a person overeats, intentionally overeats, and after eating they will force themselves to vomit. So in bulimia nervosa, that is the full name, bulimia nervosa, people will eat a lot of food then or binge a lot of food, and after that they will intentionally initiate vomiting. They will try to bring out the food themselves. Whilst anorexia nervosa is someone refusing to eat because they don't want to gain weight even though they are feeling hungry. Then we can talk about gastrointestinal problems already mentioned earlier. Some people may develop indigestion, diarrhea, chronic constipation, and all that. Now we can talk about treatments of stress. Well, we can have preventive management and then also non-pharmacological management. Under the preventive management, I always tell people that please protect your mind. No one can protect your mind for you. You need to protect it yourself. First, maintain a healthy lifestyle. This includes exercise, diet, rest, and sleep. Make sure that you get correct and adequate exercise for you. We have active exercise and then passive active exercise. Active exercise are things like going for cardio, the gym, jogging, swimming, cycling, maybe rope skipping, bungee jumping, rock climbing, and all that. Those are active exercises because they are strenuous, they involve a lot of energy burning. Then we have the passive active exercise. This can be lying on your bed and stretching, sitting on your chair and doing some yoga, or going for a stroll, just walking by yourself in a park or walking your dog. These are all passive but active exercises because they are not so strenuous, they don't burn excessive energy, and you don't require a lot of strength to do them. So please study your body and know which one works best for you. Is it the active exercises that works for you or the passive exercise that works for you? Some people can do both and it will work for them. In terms of diet, please pay attention to what you eat. Avoid junk food as much as you can. Avoid too much of everything or too little of everything. Please eat adequately, whether the carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals from vegetables, fruits, and the rest. Don't just say that I've heard eating this, maybe if I eat carbohydrates or proteins I'll gain weight, so I'll not eat them. No, don't eat too much of them. Just eat enough for your body to get enough energy to function, enough protein to build new body tissues for you. Eat enough of fruits and vegetables so that you get the necessary vitamins and minerals that you need. If you need to take a supplement, take the right amount of it. Don't overdo things. That is what we mean when it comes to maintaining a healthy diet. Please don't overdo or underdo things. If it is fruit, eat adequately. I'm always concerned about people refusing to eat their carbohydrates and proteins because they don't want to gain weight. Please eat an adequate amount for yourself. Just don't overeat it. Also, don't overcook or overheat your food. Some people can throw their food in their microwave and then just put it on a high heat, just leave it there, which is not nice. Don't overcook or overheat your food. And also make sure you get adequate sleep. Averagely, everybody is supposed to get 8 hours of sleep per day, but if you can't get that, at least make sure you get 6 hours. Maybe you are a night shift worker, so you can sleep 4 hours in the daytime and then maybe some 2 hours or some few minutes of nap during your night shift. Or some people, they can have 2 hours nap in the afternoon and have their 4 to 6 hours sleep during the night. Study your body, know what works for you according to your daily routine, and then plan your life based on that. Then we can talk about avoiding or limiting alcohol, tobacco, and substances. When you talk about substances, we are referring to narcotics and then caffeine. If you are not using any of these things or substances or items, be it alcohol, tobacco, narcotics, caffeine, whatever it is. If you are not using any of them, we advise that you try to avoid them. But if you are somebody who is already using them, who is already drinking, smoke cigarettes, and is addicted or uses them frequently, please, we are advising that you limit their use. The reason why we are not saying stop is because suddenly stopping the use of a substance that you are addicted to can lead to withdrawal, and withdrawal causes stress, and this can lead to death. I have seen someone who was recovering from alcohol withdrawal who ended going up home with a partial stroke or partial CVA. So please limit its use. If you're already addicted or somebody who uses this substance frequently, limit them. Also, when we talk about caffeine, especially, caffeine is not only found in coffee. Caffeine is found in all forms of energy drinks that we take these days. So if you are somebody who depends on energy drink for your daily activities or your daily routine, please know that you are going to be taking in too much caffeine, and this is not good for your body. So we advise that you limit their use. Also, continuing regular health appointments and screenings. This regular health checks can help us know if your body is out of balance, your body system is out of balance, your internal system if it's out of balance. Sometimes there are some people that they are stressed, but they don't know they are stressed because they are not showing any physical or emotional symptoms that indicates that they are stressed. But when you go to the hospital and you undergo some blood tests or screenings and the rest, you see that your cortisol level is very high. Once your cortisol level is very high, it indicates that something is wrong with your body. So the necessary advice and guidelines will be provided for you so that you don't end up going into chronic stress or experiencing any of those negative effects of stress. Now let's talk about the non-pharmacological management. We can talk about relaxation techniques, meditation, mindfulness, deep breathing. When you go to the hospital and you see doctors and nurses resuscitating a patient, especially when they are giving the patient oxygen, the moment they put the oxygen mask on the patient, the first thing that they tell the patient is to take in a deep breath. And if you observe well, you see that even the nurses and doctors around the patient, they are also breathing like with the patient, taking in deep breath. That should tell you that taking in deep breath not only helps you calm down or relax, but it also expands your chest, drawing in more oxygen into your body. Whenever you are stressed or tensed up, practice taking in some deep breaths. It can help you. Some people prefer mindfulness and meditation or participation in yoga, and that works for you, go for it. Then fostering social connections or relationships. Sometimes when you are stressed, you don't need a therapist or you don't need to see anybody. You just need somebody to talk to and get whatever that is stressing you off your chest, and you'll be fine. So please, let's try and form a good relationship with our family and friends. It doesn't have to be many people, at least one or two persons that you can talk to whenever something is bothering you, so that you don't feel alone or distressed. Then we talk about time management. I always say that plan your daily routine. Plan your life to suit you in such a way that there is a particular point in every day that is a break time for you. At that point, you take a break from all forms of physical and mental activities that can cause or lead you to stress. At that point, you are resting and relaxing so that your body can reset itself to its normal state. So plan your time very well, plan your daily routine well, and make sure that you include a break. Create break time for yourself. This is why I like and love white people. They don't joke with their break time. When it is their break time, it is their break time, and they will never sacrifice it for anything, unless maybe someone is about to lose their life. So make sure that at some point in your life every day, there is a break time meant for you to relax and then recover from the stress or strain of the day earlier on. Then lifestyle changes, which we've already talked about. Diet, exercise, rest, and sleep. I've already explained this when we were discussing it in the preventive method. Then the last but not the least, cultivating a positive mindset and accepting what is beyond one's control. We cannot control every aspect of life, especially when it comes to losses like losing a loved one, losing your job, losing your house, property, or something. We cannot control them. So Accept things that are beyond control, and then create a positive mindset. Instead of dwelling on what has happened or the past, think about how you can move on. Think about how you can improve yourself, improve upon yourself, so that you don't experience those things again. Or if that thing should even happen again, how are you going to help yourself? How are you going to help someone if that someone also experiences what you are going through? How are you going to help the person? These are the positive things that you should think about, and then let go of all the negative things and then things that are beyond our control. Now we go to my favorite part of this presentation. This is what I like most about this presentation. That is the truths and misconceptions about stress. There are a whole lot, but in this presentation, we are going to talk about six of them. Sorry. So the first one says stress is the same for everyone. That is never true. The truth is we all have our own way of letting things get to us. We have our own way of reacting to everything. What may stress me may not necessarily stress you, or what may stress you may not stress your brother, your sister, or even your mother. Everyone has a way of reacting to things that are provocating, things that are poses danger and threats to them. So stress is not the same for everyone. Instead, identifying your triggers and what you tend to do under stress are essential first steps in developing a successful stress management routine. You have to know what triggers you, what causes you to be anxious, fearful, angry, irritated, and all that. And then what happens when you experience all these things? What happens? How do you react? If you're able to identify them, you'll be able to create a successful stress management routine for yourself. Then this one says that stress is bad. Well, stress is not bad, depending on what is causing it. Stress can be good or bad depending on the situation and the trigger factors. If stress is pushing you to learn, study your books, and prepare for your exams, it is not a bad stress. But if that same stress is causing you to abuse alcohol, substances, and the rest, that is a bad stress. So depending on what is causing the stress for you, that will make stress either good or bad. Sometimes stress can even help you survive a dangerous situation. Let's say you suddenly encounter a snake or a lion or a gunman, any dangerous situation. The normal fight or flight response, which is part of the stress cycle, can help you survive that situation. It can help you to either run away for your life or call for help. And that's you'll be able to survive that dangerous situation. So stress is not bad. Stress can be good or bad depending on what is causing that stress and how you react to it. The third one says stress is everywhere, so you just have to live with it. Well, in today's world, we can say that most aspects of today's world and even our personal lives is stressful or are stressful. Things like bad economy, you have to drive for long hours to get to work, overschedulings, working for long periods of hours, strained family relationships, financial issues, and the rest. All these things can lead to stress, but it does not mean stress is everywhere. You can plan your life in such a way that as a particular point in every day, at a particular point in your life, there is nothing stressing you. If it is at work, if it is at work, make sure that you prioritize your tasks. Do the more important ones first, simple and important ones. Then the large and demanding ones, break them down into simple tasks or smaller projects so that you'll be able to perform them or manage them effectively, manage your time effectively. If it's about family or social relationships, you can set boundaries on how a person gets to you. If you know that this person is good at provoking me, you limit how the person have access to you. If you cannot say let me avoid talking to that person altogether, maybe that person might be a family member, so you restrict them. You have a time that you talk to them, you make general conversations, and then you move on with your life. Then the fourth one says the most popular strategies for reducing stress are the best ones, which is very false too. In fact, this is a dangerous myth to believe because we all have our different ways of reacting to stress. The same way what may help you relieve stress may not help me. Somebody may need active exercise like going to the gym or going for swimming. Somebody may need a passive active exercise like going for a stroll, going for a walk. Someone may just need to talk to another person, not necessarily even a therapist, just another person, maybe a friend, a family member, a work colleague, and their stress level will reduce. Someone also may need to see a therapist, be it a psychologist or someone that they need to talk to. Some people may even go to the spa. Someone may go for a vacation, take a break and rest. These are the things that may help them relieve their stress and calm down. So you study your body, study your environment, and know what works best for you. Just because everybody is doing yoga to relieve stress does not mean you also benefit from it. Or if everybody is doing mindfulness and meditation to relieve stress, does not necessarily mean it will also work for you. Then the fifth one says no symptoms, no stress. Well, that is another dangerous thing to believe. The absence of symptoms does not equate the absence of stress. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you may not experience or show any physical symptoms of stress, but you go to the hospital, you go for blood work analysis, and they're showing that your cortisol level is skyrocketing, is breaking through the roof. That is when you know that your body system has been thrown out of balance internally, so you are stressed. It is at this point that some people will say, oh, this person just fell sick in the morning and suddenly this afternoon the person died. Yes, that person was stressed a long time ago. That person's internal system was already thrown out of balance, but because he or she didn't show any physical signs of stress, we thought that person wasn't stressed. That person was quite stressed. So no symptoms does not mean no stress. Assess your body and then know where something is going wrong. Seek for medical help when necessary to know if something is wrong with your body. And the last but not the least, it says only major symptoms of stress require attention. That is not true. The minor symptoms of stress that we talked about, if a person has not become suddenly depressed or chronically stressed, you say, oh, this minor headaches, this minor stomach aches, this maybe the person refused to eat just yesterday, it's okay, nothing's wrong with the person. All those minor symptoms of stress are actually warning signs. They are what I call trigger warnings. They are warning signs that something is about to happen. So all those minor symptoms of stress need to be taken seriously and then effective management put in place quickly. So we come to the end of our presentation today. So in conclusion, or in summary, we can say that stress is a natural human response that can have both positive and negative impacts. Identifying risk factors, understanding the types and causes of stress, and implementing effective management strategies are crucial for maintaining overall well-being. To achieve this, constant education and awareness creation must be part of the core effort to guard against and then manage stress. So dear lovelies, please be an advocate now and save a life. Talk about stress and save someone's life. People are stressed but they don't know. Some know they are stressed but they don't know who to talk to. Lots of things have been said about stress. This is a few things that we can take away home, even if we have forgotten everything. This one, you can print it, hang it in your home, your office. You can print it and share it with others. It's like maybe you can use it for a flyer or something. It says, hello, I'm stressed and I'm an intense emotional or physical response to both external and internal stimuli. I affect everyone and I can be good or bad depending on the situation or trigger factors. Everybody reacts to stress differently, so that's the way we manage stress differs. Knowing your triggers and how to manage them is the best way to both prevent and manage stress. Early diagnosis and proper interventions are key to managing stress. Likewise, the absence of these can lead to fatality. So, stress is saying it is a silent killer, so beware. Please, let us take note of that. Stress is killing a lot of people silently. One, because they don't know about it, and two, some know but they don't know who to talk to or where to find help. And that is that for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And make sure, at the end here we have some references for those who would like to read further about stress or causes or anything that you like to know about stress. We have some references here that you can check out for yourself. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you search for this Yajo on YouTube, Yajo TV on YouTube. You subscribe to the channel, you watch this video, you like, you share, you comment, and then you invite others to come and join us so that the channel will keep on growing. If you want to get more of this content or better content in the future, please let's keep the channel growing. Also, God willing, in September is the month of cancer awareness, so we are going to be talking about a few cancers. In case there is any cancer that you've heard about but you like to know more, you can drop that in the comment section. I'll go and research on it and then bring more data on it for all of us to learn. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.